Back with you after being away most of the week last week. I want to give a thanks to Keon Rose for filling in for me. And tonight we start off this week's show with a very, very special guest, none other than the head coach of the UTC Mocs women's basketball program, Jim Foster. And Coach Foster, Thursday night, celebrated a big milestone in your illustrious career of 900 wins, which put you fifth among all active coaches in all of the NCAA. That's an amazing feat.
It means you've done it a long time, for sure, and had some pretty good players along the way. Yeah, it's sort of shake your head. Yeah, realize you've been doing it that long.
It's taken you 40 years to do that, which, you know, like with me, I've been doing radio and television for 38. I've never counted all the ball games that I've done play-by-play on, but I mean, 900 wins as a coach is a huge accomplishment. I mean, there's only 4 other people ahead of you that have done better, and you're still active. You know, you still feel like you got a lot of fuel in the tank?
Yeah, I think, you know, at the end of every year, we take a couple of weeks and assess where we are, and not that it'll be the same this year. And yeah, I enjoy my team. I enjoy being in the gym. I think I've got a group that's getting better and at the right time of year, and it's a good place to be.
What have you seen as far as the changes from victory number 1 to victory number 900 over that 40-year span?
Well, first of all, the NCAA, my first year, we were AIW. So that changed, and with that came a lot more rules, regulations. Players are better, obviously. Officiating's better. More of a commitment from schools. You know, we're going to travel on nice buses with Wi-Fi and the things, the amenities, satellite TV. I mean, it beats the heck out of getting in a couple vans and me having to drive one of them. Yeah. So I think a lot of changes over 4 decades.
During that time, I mean, you talked briefly about this, you know, the type of players has kind of changed because, I mean, being on a D1 level and everything, you're looking at the upper echelon of high school talent that's out there. Have you seen the fight to get your attention a lot greater from these high school athletes?
Yeah, well, high school, it used to be the high school coach was just who you dealt with solely, and that has changed tremendously. I mean, AAU basketball has created a whole different mindset out there and a whole different environment out there. And so you've got a AAU coach, you've got a high school coach. Parents are much more active and involved. You know, I think my parents may have come to watch me play an athletic event one time because they're busy. You know, I was the oldest of 6, and your life didn't revolve around the sport in that day and age. And today it seems to, with travel teams and parents getting very involved with that. So I think there's some of the fundamental changes, and who you're dealing with certainly varies from player to player.
Now, like in football, there's huddle. I'm sure that there's some sort of system out there for basketball for the same thing. And I'm sure there's constant videos being put up online where all the coaches can see.
Yeah, I mean, there is, and, you know, people evaluate and rate, and, you know, quite frankly, probably as silly a tool as there is. And I'd look no further than at the beginning of the season, the football season this year, I wonder what Nick Foles would have been rated as a quarterback.
The reason why the coach mentions that, if you're noticing, if you're watching on Facebook Live or on YouTube, he is in his Eagles sweatshirt.
Yep.
And as you know, the Eagles won their first Super Bowl championship. Only took them 52 years, but they had a couple championships prior to
48, 49, and 60.
Yeah. And it was.
I was around for 60. Actually, I was around for 48 and 49. I just have no recollection of it.
Yeah. I didn't come around to 66, but, you know, but it was great seeing the city of Philadelphia win. Coach, when you're looking for a player, not only to represent UTC, but also to represent you, because you're the face of the team that everybody's looking at. It's your neck that's on the chopping block if you're having a bad year. What do you look for in a player to become a Lady Mock or a Mock?
I think we've started to attract and want to attract people that have a fairly good idea of how to play basketball, not just have skills. There's a lot of different people teaching and getting making a livelihood from teaching skills to players, but they really aren't teaching them how to play the game. They've gotten 3 or 4 or 5 dribble moves, when to use them, how to use them. So there's a lot of things going on, and when I go to watch a game, I try to see how unselfish the player is. I think that's a big deal. How much they communicate with their teammates, I think that's a big deal. How hard they play, that's a big deal. And whether or not they have a passion for this thing, whether or not they couldn't be bothered, or it matters to them and they care, because you'd rather be in the gym, in my opinion, with people who have a passion for something and really want to see how good they can get at it.
Between you and your staff, I mean, generally, do you try to keep your recruiting circle within a certain radius, or are you looking all over the Southeast, or maybe the Southeast and Midwest, or where?
We'll go where a player has an interest in us, and I think we're involved. We got a former trainer of mine lives in Wisconsin, called me and said there's a player up here and I think there could be an interest, and ended up coming to our camp, and we're involved. I have a player from Pennsylvania, but most of my players are from the area and regional. Tennessee's got very good high school basketball, but not every year produces a crop of players that can help you get better. So it's Alabama, Georgia, Kentucky, Tennessee, pretty much. And then when opportunities arise from other areas where players either reach out to you or former associates in some form or manner might make you aware of somebody that would have an interest.
Now, being in the SoCon and everything, it does present its challenges, as it would if you were in any other conference and stuff. But the quality of teams, other schools that are in the conference and everything, do you feel like that helps keep the level of play at an optimum for Chattanooga? I think that Chattanooga's success over the years, they were very successful before I got here with Westmore, and they're successful before that with Sharon Fanning. If you want to be serious, and the other schools are starting to get more serious, there's going to be change, and there's some very good young coaches in this league, and they're working aggressively to build their programs, and there's an upgrade in facilities. Wofford just opened a brand new gym, and they hired a very, very good coach last year, and you're starting to see the dividends of that and how they play. They're a team that had been historically not very good, but they're making a push for 500 this year, and their best player by far was injured early on and will redshirt and come back. But their new gym is as nice as you could build a gym. Jerry Richardson, who owned, I guess, or trying to sell the Panthers in Carolina, I think it was $56 million they were given to build, and they didn't miss anything. I mean, it in its look and the behind the scenes and the locker room for players, the locker room for coaches, it's a first class facility, and I'm sure that's going to make them better. And I'm sure Furman, which is down the road, mm-hmm.
and they're both private schools, it's probably going to push Furman a little bit in the facility direction. Yeah. Mercer is a great addition to the league, and they've got a great little gym. So the league has got some very good coaches. Mike Morris at Sanford's terrific, and Brittany Ezel, who I coached against when she was a player at Alabama, is up at ETSU, and it's just a league that's got some pretty good athletes and some pretty good coaches, and is growing, I think.
During the span of those 40 years that you've been coaching, which you've spent at 4 other institutions, and you've been here at Chattanooga for the last 5 years, do you feel like that the direction of the program is still going upwards? Or
yeah, I think we are in need of some facilities upgrades, and the administration is very conscious of that, and I think we've gotten very close to a number that will allow us to break some ground, and it will make a big difference. It will make a big difference. I know we're adding a scoreboard next year that will enable us to, have those videos, and we're going to be able to turn the lights out. We're going to have different lighting, and I think that will attract different kind of concert, different level of concert, and I think it'll
the
help us in that
will be
way.
Energetic.
Yeah, I think the more things you can get on campus, and the more things you are around that are significant, and other people are talking about, I think that gets more people comfortable with the idea of coming to your campus. So when it comes time to come to a game, they've been there for different reasons, and they get more comfortable. And I think there's a lot of things that go hand in hand with that little facility bump, and better training, better weight room, locker rooms, all that comes with it.
Not trying to put you on the line here, and you can say, let's move on or whatever. Do you feel like you have full support of the university? I mean, with trying to find the quality athletes, the student athletes, and with what we have to offer as far as the UTC product?
I think more so than people would realize. I mean, they've allowed me. We've really significantly upgraded our schedule. I mean, we this year we played 2 SEC teams. We played 2 Big Ten teams. We've played some of the best mid-major teams, and we've had Connecticut and Notre Dame and Stanford, Tennessee come into this building in the years that I've been here. And I think there has to be a commitment from the university and from the athletic department to be able to do things like that, because we're going back there. That it's not a guarantee game. It's not a buy game. It's if you're going to play us at our, if you want me to come to your place, you got to come to our place, kind of deal. And it's worked out well. It's worked out well. We don't have to play a lot of guarantee games to make it work, and that's a good thing.
This season has been, for the most part, a good success. I mean, where do you see the team? I mean, injuries were not hurting that bad, if I'm not mistaken. But as the season, we're in the final stretch here. If
we maintain this core and stay healthy, we've had some injuries, we've had some illness, we've had a lot of things. We haven't been able to practice with the core group as much as you would like to, but that's changed in the last couple of weeks, and I think we've got a core group right now of 11. The players aren't going to play; they're not going to play the rest of the year, and if we can stay healthy, we're getting better. I thought the last couple of games we played very well, and looking forward to seeing where we can get. But I think our young freshmen are now a lot more comfortable with the expectation and the reality of what college basketball is better understood by them, and as a result, they're contributing. So our bench productivity has increased, and we're getting a lot more out of the center position than we had earlier in the year.
You have 3 mainstays that it seems like are the go-to ladies on the team: Kiana, Ariana, and Lakeland. Talking about the Gilbert girls and then Lakeland Bolden. When you go to that bench, who do you look to?
Well, a couple things have transpired or started to transpire. Era Whitaker has really started to pick up and understand what it was we've been talking about. She played about 20 games as a freshman and had an injury, and then sat all last year. But we just feel that she's a much better player facing the basket than she is back to the basket. Well, it takes an awfully long time to get a player who has played back to the basket for their basketball career to get a half turn and a face up mentality. It's a lot easier for a Tim Duncan, who may have in his youth played back to the basket and then, as a pro started the half turn and face up a lot more. And there's a frame of reference and a history, but when you're talking about a 19, 20-year-old kid, it takes a lot of time to develop the comfort zone.
Right.
So our center position has improved dramatically, and Key Gilbert is now playing point and has allowed Brianna Dials to come in and affect us in a lot of different ways. She's a freshman with a lot of length, block shots, can make a three, and just is a very intelligent player, very good passer. So we're evolving as we speak. We're a better team than we were 2 weeks ago by a wide margin. We're a better team, I think, by a wide margin than we were 10 days ago.
The one thing that what I've seen in the games that I've been able to watch there at the Roundhouse, we're good on the perimeter shots and everything, but sometimes the rebounding was a little spotty and everything. But you feel like that's gotten a lot better here in the last several weeks?
Yeah, I think significantly better. We're just we're Shell Lee, of another freshman, big freshman, 6'4". She's giving us some good minutes to go along with there, and Ashlyn Ward is going to help us before the year's out. She's had some things that she's had to work through in terms of her health, but she's practicing a lot harder and doing some good things. So I think our rebounding's better, and the three you talked about are continuing to have a good season, but there are people coming in off the bench now and contributing in different ways that has made us a better team.
Where do you see the Mocs heading into the home stretch of the conference schedule, and do you feel like we're going to have a very good chance of playoffs?
Well, we're going to continue, hopefully, to get better. To start of the second half with 2 road games and had 2 pretty good wins. Now we come home for 3, and then we finish out at Sanford and Mercer. Mercer, to this point in time, has been the class of the league, and that's who everybody's chasing. And I feel more comfortable with the group we have right now in terms of our matchups with them. And if we're fortunate enough to get a couple more opportunities to play them, one's guaranteed. We have to earn the other one. We're gonna be toe to toe, I think, as well as they're playing. They can't get much better, and as well as we're starting to play, we do have a ceiling that we're heading towards, and we haven't reached it.
Okay, we're talking with Jim Foster, the head coach of the University of Tennessee Chattanooga Mocs women's basketball program, here in studio with us. And of course, you can call in at 423-800-8949, 423-800-8949. Be more than glad to take your call, and you can ask Coach Foster a question if you'd like here on Sports Talk with Sam Jordan. And if you want to, you can also comment on our Facebook live feed with your question as well. Coach Foster, over the span of those 900 wins, you got, I think, over 174, 175 of those as the Mocs coach.
That's an Ann Wehunt question. Right.
I think it's somewhere around there.
Yeah,
Ann knows everything about women's basketball at UTC.
Yeah,
she is a great resource.
Yeah.
But, of those wins and everything, is there a particular, whether it be the school or a game, that really sticks out in your mind during those 900 wins?
Well, I think there's several that jump out at you. I mean, obviously, the year we beat both Tennessee and Stanford, who were highly ranked. They were top 10 teams for a school like Chattanooga to be able to compete and beat teams like that. This year, we had a blip of a week that probably hadn't been done to this point in time, in terms of, on a Monday, we beat Indiana at Indiana. And then Friday we beat Northwestern, and Saturday Georgetown, and Sunday Auburn. So when you can go 2-0 against the Big Ten, and 1-0 against the Big East and the SEC. It's a pretty good week of basketball for you.
Yes, it is. As you look ahead, what do you feel is your next goal?
Well, I just finishing with this team and just getting better. I mean, we are starting to understand who we are.
All right. Coach Jim Foster, UTC Mocs, thanks for joining us. We'll be back with more in a little bit here on Sports Talk with Sam Jordan on Nooga Radio.
Chattanooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4. 92.7 FM's news now.
2 car shops in Hickson were burglarized. High caliber auto sound off Highway 153 in Hickson and Northgate Auto Services. The CPD is investigating both thefts, and they're asking for your help tracking down the thieves. A vacant home goes up in smoke as a fire destroyed a home in Sale Creek over the weekend. Investigators say the home was vacant and undergoing renovations. Firefighters say the home is a total loss. Charges pending after 2 children were ejected in a bloody crash. According to the Highway Patrol, 1 car was involved in a crash on Pete Worthington Road in Ray County when the vehicle ran off the roadway and hit an embankment, rolling several times. The young boy was ejected from the vehicle and airlifted to the hospital, and a female child was transported to an area hospital. Val St. John for Nooga Radio, News Talk 92.7 News Now.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM.
$25 goes by quickly these days, and 25 cents still just a quarter. 25 is the years of experience Schultz & Associates puts behind filing your tax return. Quickly, correctly, and electronically. Schultz & Associates.
Hi, I'm Chip Chapman. The IRS set some special dates this year regarding filing your taxes. It all may make filing a little more confusing this year. The professionals at Schultz & Associates can answer your questions about multiple incomes, income from rental property, special circumstances involving your children or family. Call Schultz & Associates 899-1130 and arrange an appointment to work out the details of your tax return. Schultz & Associates, 6310 Bonnie Oaks Drive.
Baseball sluggers often wear the number 25, or 25 is a full MLB roster. Just happens 25 is also the years of experience Schultz & Associates puts behind filing your tax return quickly, correctly, and electronically. Schultz & Associates, 899-1130.
Oh, man, rush. I've got to get stuff for the party. Where can I go that's going to give me a wide selection of beer, wines, and spirits? Oh, I've got it. I'll go to Harry's Wine and Spirits, Signal Mountain. Maybe East Brainerd Wine and Spirits in East Brainerd. I could go to Riley's Wines and Spirits in Hickson. Wow, look at the huge selection in here. Look at these great prices. Amazing. Oh, yeah. I'm going to find something for my lady, too. I'm going to make this party a success.
Make your party a success when you stop in at Harry's Wine and Spirits in Signal Mountain, East Brainerd Wine and Spirits in East Brainerd, and Riley's Wine and Spirits in Hickson. An automated nuclear missile defense system has suddenly entered into launch mode, and you are the only one who can stop it. Escape Experience Chattanooga. Your team has just been infected with a deadly virus. Your only hope? There, in an abandoned farmhouse. Escape Experience Chattanooga. Handcuffed in a maximum security prison, you have an hour to flee. Escape Experience Chattanooga. These escape scenarios and more at Chattanooga's best escape room game and team building platform. Call now. Slots are limited. Register online at escapeexperience.com/Chattanooga. Escape Experience Chattanooga.
Traffic, news, and information. Nooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM.
Expect fair to partly cloudy skies to continue through your nighttime. Cold overnight, lows mid and upper 20s. Now for your Wednesday, look for some sunshine with a breeze out of the north, though. Light cold, highs up around 40 with more mainly dry and cold weather expected through Friday. Celebrate the new year with Dixieland Fireworks, locally owned with the largest selection around. A Black Hat dealer with the lowest prices in Dixie. Dixieland Fireworks, just off I-75 on Ringgold Road, East Ridge. And I'm Sworn Team 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare.
Nooga Radio. Digital FM 95.3 HD4 and 92.7 FM knows your opinion is important. So call 800-8949. Agree or disagree. Call 423-800-8949. 800-8949. Nooga Radio. 92.7 FM and 95.3 HD4. News Talk Nooga Radio. It's the moment you've been waiting for. Sam Jordan's Nooga Radio. 92.7 Sports. Now. now.
Sports Talk with Sam Jordan back with you here on Nooga Radio 92.7 FM. And we're glad to have you along here on this Monday night. Super Bowl is over with. Can we ever forget about the 2018 season? You know, with all the kneeling, all the protesting going on. And, you know, for me, you know, I know Keon is a Redskins fan. We won't hold that against him, okay? But maybe with me being a Cowboys fan, it's like, all right, can't stand the Patriots, so we'll root for anybody. And with the Eagles being an NFC East opponent, you know, we had to root for the Eagles in more ways than one. But I was getting a little nervous. I was telling Coach beforehand, before the interview, you know, with him being an Eagles fan and everything, was a little nervous about the last 2.5 minutes of the game until, you know, Brady, you know, fumbled the ball there on the, I think it was the 11 or 12 yard line. And it was like, yes. And I'm yelling through the house. And Beth is at the other end. It's like, what's wrong? What's wrong? It's like, the Eagles got the ball. And it's like, you know, it was good. And knowing Philly fans, because I've have seen how Philly fans reacted. They've even thrown snowballs at Santa Claus at Eagles games. The Philly fans, you know, they can be a little raucous. Not as much as what the Eagles are. Flyer fans, they're kind of here, there, just depending on the mood and the attitude, literally with them. So it was good. I really enjoyed the Eagles beating the Patriots last night. It was great having Coach Jim Foster, a legend in his own right, here in studio with us. And we try to bring you interesting guests here with Sports Talk with Sam Jordan. Don't forget, coming up here after the 8 o'clock hour, The Clutch with Keon Rose. And Keon, I'm sure, will be talking the Super Bowl. I am sure of that. I hope he doesn't prove me wrong, but we'll see. But anyway, a lot of other sports news going on. In fact, let me go to this. This just came across here a little while ago, courtesy of the Chattanoogan.com. Chad Grabowski has been apparently relieved of his duties as the head football coach at Red Bank High School, despite having led the Lions to the state playoffs in all 4 years on the job. Red Bank principal Elaine Harper and assistant principals Monica Gordon and Wendell Weathers met with Grabowski on Friday to inform him of that decision. Harper offered a brief press release on Monday, and this is what it said. In a meeting with Coach Grabowski on Friday, we communicated with him that we have decided to make a change in the head football coaching position. We appreciate everything Coach Grabowski has done for the Red Bank High School football program, but we feel it is in the best interest of the program and Red Bank High to make a change at this time. Weathers answered a cell phone on Monday morning, but offered very little information about the change or any reason leading up to that decision. Grabowski is a 41-year-old gentleman, according to the Chattanoogan.com, that has been the Red Bank coach for the past 4 years. He was a head football coach for 5 seasons in Central Florida before coming to Red Bank. During that time, the Lions advanced to the playoffs all 4 years, and just this past fall made it to the semifinal round before losing to eventual state champion Alcoa. Red Bank was 11-3 before the loss to Alcoa. So interesting developments going on over at Red Bank as Chad Grabowski fired as the Red Bank head football coach. All right. Now, did you get to go to Fenley Stadium on Saturday? Chattanooga Football Club, they earned a 1-1 draw with Major League Soccer's Football Club of Dallas. Two contrasting. One's pro, the other one's amateur yet this year. So, either the Football Club of Dallas wasn't really anticipating a strong competitive effort from Chattanooga, or maybe Chattanooga needs to go pro sooner than later. It will be fun to hopefully talk with General Manager Sean McDaniel or the head coach and find out some of those particulars. We're trying to work on that, waiting to hear back from Mr. McDaniel on that, whether we would be able to have that opportunity or not. But that is awesome news for Chattanooga Football Club fans and the Chattahooligans. I'm sure that they were really rocking Finley Stadium as well on Saturday. And of course, with any CFC contest, they're partying it up a couple of hours ahead of time and several hours beyond the actual game being done. So congrats to them. We look forward to an exciting season with the CFC club here in Chattanooga. Don't forget, UTC Mocs Club is hosting the official Chattanooga Mocs Football National Signing Day celebration coming up on Wednesday at the Stadium Club at Finley Stadium. Festivities begin with a happy hour at 5 p.m. and the program starts at 6. Come join Mocs football coach Tom Arth and his staff as they run down Chattanooga's 2018 signing class and be the first to learn all about the incoming Mocs and the next generation of championship football student athletes at UTC. Admission to the event is free and open to the public with free food while it lasts. If you can't make it to the Mocs National Signing Day celebration, be sure to check back to gomocs.com for full information, including bios, quotes, and video on each of UTC's signees. And that's coming up on a Wednesday at Finley Stadium at the Stadium Club. So if you are a huge Mocs fan, especially with football, Wednesday is the day to find out what is going on with Mocs signings. And that is going to be a great event. Chattanooga is on the rise. Those Moccasins are really looking at getting Chattanooga football back up there to where it has been known to being successful. And Coach Arth is an outstanding coach and will help make that happen by finding the right student athletes for that program. All right. Our good friends down at Boyd Speedway, they finally got to get their season off Saturday with the $3,000 super late model race in the annual Cabin Fever event. And leading the way, John Umby of Cleveland, Tennessee. And he led all the way during that event, putting his white number J0, sponsored by Sam's Restaurant Equipment, Fraser Property Rentals, Karsh Boutique, and Orr Brothers Construction, and Powell Motorsports, Stealth Racing Carburetor, CarSmart, WP Racing Shocks, James Mowry Motorsports, and M&S Motor Phantom Race Engines powered Longhorn Race Car to Victory Lane. And Umby thanked all of his friends, family, and supporters addressing a missing carburetor issue with announcer Mitch Walker during the victory celebration there. Finishing second was Corey Hedgecock, followed by pole sitter Michael Page. Austin Horton reared a late race caution with 3 laps remaining in the race, while a 6-car pileup drew a red flag on the first lap. Race was postponed by a week because of rain as the track's first under new promoter Kathy Coulter, whose grandfather founded the track. So congratulations to Kathy and her staff for having a great first night of racing in this 2018 season over at Boyd Speedway, just over the line there in Georgia. All right. Let's see what else we have to talk about here on Sports Talk with Sam Jordan. Oh, that's right. Dalton State squeaking out a road win at Faulkner. They saw a 10-point halftime lead evaporate quickly in the second half, but held on for a 1-point victory, 70-69 over Faulkner, Alabama at the Tyne Davis Gymnasium in Montgomery on Saturday night. Roadrunners would control much of the first half, going up for good at the 11:25 mark after a Reed Dungan basket. Dalton State would gradually extend the lead, growing it to as much as 11 with just under 3 minutes left in the half. Faulkner would cut the Roadrunner lead to 7 with 5 seconds left on the clock, But Dalton State would inbound to Isaiah Box, who would get off a shot and find the net from half court before the buzzer sounded to give Dalton State a 10-point advantage at the half. But they would extend it to 12 within the first minute of the second half, but the Eagles began chipping away and fighting back. Dalton State improves to 19-4 overall, 11-1 in the SSAC with the win, while Faulkner, Alabama, falls to 15-7 overall, 7-4 in the conference with that loss. So congratulations to Dalton State in their victory over Faulkner, Alabama. Sports Talk with Sam Jordan here on Nooga Radio, 92.7 FM, and also on 95.3 FM HD4, Facebook Live, and also on YouTube. Hello there, wherever you may be around the world or right here in the Tennessee Valley or in Chattanooga. Glad to have you along. And don't forget, coming up here in probably about 20 minutes or so is none other than the Clutches, Mr. Keon Rose. He'll be in here in studio talking to you with his various topics on sports. And like I said, he's probably going to be talking about the NFL, but I'm going to give you a few of my opinions on the NFL with last night's game. I really, really thought Pink did an awesome job, not knowing, because I don't get on social media all the time, but I guess she had announced on Saturday at some point that she was under the weather bug, but she was not missing out on the national anthem. Okay. Didn't realize that she had said that. And it's like when I was listening to it, because I was in the midst of moving and stuff, and I was listening to our good friends over at ESPN 105 because they had the Super Bowl on here locally. And it was like, wow, this is awesome. I mean, Whitney Houston, I think, did the best ever Super Bowl national anthem. But Pink, if she was not better than the late, great Whitney Houston, pretty darn close. I mean, and then when I found out later she had the flu bug and still did that well, I mean, just I was in awe. But an awesome job she did. Justin Timberlake, and with his tribute to Prince, which was a natural fitting thing, with Prince being from Minneapolis and everything, and they had the skyline where it was how they did it, I don't know. I mean, just really outstanding with the purpleness of that was shown over the city when Justin was doing his halftime performance and giving homage to the late artist and Prince. But it was actually a pretty good entertainment portion of the Super Bowl. Super Bowl usually has the best at that time. And I'm telling you, the NFL really did a good job with the selection of the artist for this year's Super Bowl. And probably the one group that I've really enjoyed was the Red Hot Chili Peppers from a few years ago when the Steelers and the Seahawks played in the Super Bowl. That was probably one of the best Super Bowl halftime shows that I've seen in a long time that will be memorable. But like I said, Pink really did an awesome job with the national anthem. And, you know, that was done with a lot of respect, but she was also doing it very well on the musical side of things. You know, I don't think there was a missed note or, you know, anything like that. I mean, she was hitting it and did very well with it. The football play, actually, I thought it would be a close game. I mean, Keon and I never got to talk about what we thought our predictions would be, and I didn't hear what Keon's prediction would be. But I figured it would be close. But when Philadelphia could not get the 2-point conversions, it's like, okay, this could be an interesting contest. And it went right down to the wire, literally down to the wire. And Brady, I will give him credit. He was trying to make the late game comeback, And if it wasn't for the 5 Eagles that were in the end zone there, at least 5 that I could count, Philadelphia, or rather New England, could have tied it up. So, Patriots tried. And I'm sure that Belichick and Brady and Gronkowski and all the others, were still scratching their heads after the game and probably disappointed in themselves. And also the one thing, and maybe Keon will talk about this, Malcolm Butler started in every game this season for the Patriots, but did not play at all in the Super Bowl. What is up with that? According to an interview after the game with Coach Belichick after the Super Bowl, I guess it was not in the best interest of the team to play Butler. That was the end of it. And so the mystery abounds, and I'm sure that he was probably told, if you discuss this with the media or anything, it would not be good for you. I could really see that happening, but trying to keep everything in-house. So, but it was interesting not seeing Butler, participate. The one thing that I kept looking for was, and maybe they did show him, and maybe I didn't catch it because I was in and out quite a bit, with Carson Wentz. And, Wentz, is the future of the Eagles. But Foles, the one graphic that they had there on NBC's broadcast last night was 1,081 total yards, the most ever by a Super Bowl quarterback. Ever. 52 of them. And Foles has only been with the team 2 months, maybe? Back with the team, that is. That's amazing. Now, the scuttlebutt that I've heard earlier today was Kansas City was looking to try to get Nick Foles to come to Kansas City to be their next quarterback since they traded Alex Smith. The Chiefs did, that is. If I was Nick Foles, it's like, and I realize his old coach is the coach of the Chiefs and Andy Reid. It's like, Coach, I can't do that. I mean, yeah, I realize Carson, it's his job, and I was only filling in, but I'm the Super Bowl MVP. Wouldn't it look bad if I left the team that I helped lead to victory? That discussion could go in a lot of different directions, but, Foles has really got a hot commodity tag on him right now, knowing that Wentz is going to have his job back once he's healed. But, maybe it will help him get that starting job somewhere. You can think of several teams, Cleveland Indians, Cleveland Browns for one. Indianapolis, I doubt that they would want to try to find somebody because Andrew Luck should be back. Arizona, they could be looking for a good quarterback. I don't know. There's several teams that are out there that could use the services of Nick Foles, maybe even the Jets. There's a lot of options out there for him, but it's not a huge opening of offerings out there. But Foles has got a lot to weigh, whether or not he wants to stay on. I'm sure once he gets that ring and gets that Super Bowl bonus and getting that Super Bowl MVP, I don't know if they still give him a car or not for being Super Bowl MVP, but I'm sure that there's probably a little moolah that's involved as well for getting that MVP status. And that's just really outstanding for Foles. Everybody's counted him out. I mean, he was a good quarterback when he was there before. And, with that, he's brought the Eagles with help to the Super Bowl. And they are thus Super Bowl champions for the first time ever. Like Coach Foster said, that, they had won 3 previous championships in 48, 49, and 1960. They joined the NFL, I think, in 61 or maybe just slightly. No, maybe it was late 60s. But still just really awesome for the city of Philadelphia. Now all 4 major franchises out of the 5, because MLS has a team there in Philadelphia, but they haven't won a championship. But it's really good to see the Eagles as champions of the National Football League. We've got more to talk to you about tomorrow, so stick around and return to us for Sports Talk with Sam Jordan. Keon Rose is up after the news and information here at the top of the hour. Until then, have a great night. Bye.
Chattanooga Morning News with Russ and Val. Weekdays from 6 to 9 a.m. on